XAMPP is a popular, free, open source cross-platform web server solution stack. So it is a popular, free, open source cross-platform web server solution stack. So in simple terms, it turns your local computer into a web server, so allowing to build, test, and debug web applications locally before deploying them to a live cloud environment. So you are able to debug web applications locally before deploying them to a live cloud environment. So the name is an acronym that spells out its core components. So it is XAMPP is an acronym. X is a cross-platform, runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. A stands for Apache, so the web server that processes HTTP requests. And then we have M, MariaDB, the database management system which replaced MySQL in newer builds but operates similarly. So we have the X cross-platform, Apache, and MariaDB. MariaDB is the database management system which replaced MySQL in newer builds but operate similarly. And then PHP, P stands for PHP, the server-side scripting language. P stands for PHP, the server-side scripting language. And then you have P, which stands for Perl, a programming language, though less commonly used in modern web development. So it is a programming language. And then we have some of the core components. One of them is Apache HTTP server, MariaDB / MySQL, PHP. So those are the main components. So we have the Apache server. So this is the engine of the stack. So it acts as the local web server. So when you type localhost into your browser, Apache intercepts the request and serves the files HTML, CSS, JS, which stands for JavaScript, PHP, from your local directory. So the Apache HTTP server is the engine of the stack. So it acts as the local web server. So when you type localhost into your browser, Apache intercepts the request and serves the files. So those files can be in form of HTML, CSS, JS, which stand for JavaScript, PHP, from your local directory. And then number 2 is MariaDB / MySQL. So the relational database management system. So it is the relational database management system. So it stores application data like user credentials, product catalogs, or system logs. So it is tightly integrated with PHP and can be easily managed via the Visual phpMyAdmin dashboard. So when you want to access the MariaDB or MySQL, you access via phpMyAdmin dashboard. And then number 3 is PHP. So a server-side programming language essential for building dynamic web systems. So it handles logic, interact with the database, and dynamically generates HTML to send back to the client browser. So the XAMPP control panel. So the defining feature of XAMPP is its intuitive control panel. So instead of configuring Apache or MariaDB via terminal lines or individual config files, the control panel allows you to start, stop, and monitor these services with a single click. So you have the control panel. So admin buttons. Clicking admin next to Apache opens your local dashboard, localhost/dashboard. Clicking admin next to MySQL opens phpMyAdmin, allowing you to create tables in SQL queries and manage databases visually. So how does it work? We have the htdocs folder. So once XAMPP is installed, it creates a root directory, typically c:/XAMPP/ on Windows. Inside this directory, so the most important folder is htdocs. So you have the project root. Any project or file you want to execute must be placed inside the htdocs folder, htdocs. And then you have the local execution. So to view a project in a browser, you start Apache in the control panel and navigate to your destination using the link http. So that's how the link starts and ends with the file that you want to open. Maybe you want to open index.php inside the folder that is in the htdocs. So why does developer use it? So we have zero configuration. Setting up Apache, PHP, and a database manually can be a tedious configuration headache. So XAMPP packages them together so they work out of the box. So configuration is easy. And then you have the offline development, so you can build code and test full stack application without needing an active internet connection or paying for live hosting. So you can deploy your system offline development. And then you have save sandbox. So if a script crashes, throws a fatal error, or corrupts a database during testing, it only happens on a local machine, keeping production environment safe. So if we have an error, a fatal error, or a corrupt database during testing, it only happens on your local machine, keeping production environment safe. So that's why I've said is a popular free open source cross-platform web server solution stack. So in simple terms, it turns your local computer into a web server, allowing you to build, test, and debug web applications locally before deploying them to a live cloud environment. So we have X, which means cross-platform, A, which means Apache, M, which means MariaDB, and then P, which means PHP, and then P, which means the last P, XAMPP, which means Perl, which means Perl. So you have core components: Apache, HTTP server, MariaDB or MySQL, and then PHP. So you can access them via the XAMPP control panel. But the most important folder is htdocs. So why does developer use it? It has for zero configuration. So setting up is very easy. And then you have offline development and then safe sandbox. So if a script crashes, throws a fatal error or corrupts a database during testing, so it only happens on your local machine, keeping production environment safe.